Consequence Podcast Network.
This episode brought to you by Nick B.
Update.
Update from who?
From Nick B.
Oh.
No, are you saying D?
Yep.
Because you got to say B. Because it's Nick B.
Well, I stand corrected.
All right. Officer Boo is a man dog.
He's a man dog?
He's a man dog.
Okay.
Yes. I believe they're also known as male dogs. Boo is short for Boris Karloff. And that's his full name.
Do you have to say it like that?
You do,
Karloff.
because it's spelled uppercase K, regular A-R-L. Oof.
Okay.
Uppercase O-O-F.
That's the loudest Jen's been on the podcast.
I honestly
Just
think
wait,
that's-
Mikey.
Oh, wow, that's so loud in my ears.
Sorry, it's Mikey's fault.
I'm all about it.
So, Nick B, thank you so much for regaling us with stories of Officer Boo.
Yeah, we need to say
Karloff.
We salute you.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
This episode also brought to you by
Spider Tom.
Spider Tom.
Spider Tom, what is he? The drug dealer from my high school?
Okay, so I got Arachnura higginsy.
Wow. Okay.
It's known as the tailored spider or scorpion-tailed spider. So taking something even worse than a spider and putting it
So you like combine a scorpion with a spider.
Right, yeah.
That sounds horrible.
I don't think I'm
does.
as scared of scorpions because I don't think I've only seen but like one.
This spider looks kind of like a chicken.
What?
It's yellow. It's a common Australian spider belonging to the Arachnidinae.
To me, it looks like a facehugger alien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
I purposefully did not look at the pictures because I hate them.
The body length of the female is around 16 millimeters.
Oh, yeah.
And the male is much smaller.
That's about right.
at around
I
2
get it.
millimeters.
Oh, wow.
The spider is not considered to be dangerous to humans.
Oh, good.
Oh,
My
it's
kind
not?
of spider, yeah.
Okay, thank
But still
God.
get the fuck away from me.
Right,
don't
I
like-
fucking hate spiders.
Yeah.
This episode also brought to you by Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca.
Now, Mikey, I'm looking forward to seeing how you work in today's movie with the pickup line.
I Googled Victorian era pickup line. All right. As you are my style and complexion,
Ooh.
and as I am going your direction.
Oh, it's a poem.
Uh-huh.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
For you are certainly my selection. If you have no objection.
would you touch my erection? Oh my God. Mikey, I'm so sorry I ruined your pickup line.
You didn't ruin it.
All right, how does it really end?
I will be your protection.
Oh, I like mine better.
Yeah.
If you want someone to write you a shitty Victorian poem, go to Straight On Till Disney on Etsy and get some Victorian Disney ears. That has to exist.
If-
Like steampunk Disney ears.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cheerio, old chap.
This episode also brought to you by
Ryan. Hey, Ryan. All right, so Ryan works with me. Fun fact.
Yeah?
It's not true, but for the purposes of me being mad,
Wangy blank.
Ryan works with me, and Ryan is in charge of phase 4 of a project and keeps unloading every part of phase 4 onto phase 3, which is my part. So now I have like 4 times the work, and Ryan's just kicking her feet up and just chilling, making some projects and la-da-dee-da, checking to see if everybody's okay.
So
No, I'm
Ryan-
not fucking okay. I'm doing all your work, Ryan.
Listen, I sort of relate to Ryan on this one. Maybe
Yeah.
phase 3 should step it up, Jen.
Ryan's also on a podcast with me.
Oh, God. Save it
We'll
for next
save it
week.
for next week. All right, thanks, Ryan. Hey, we love you, Ryan.
We do love you, Ryan. Welcome back to another episode of The Patreonicals.
If you remember last week,
Do I?
good, because we're not going to talk about it. You have
Nice.
to listen to
Oh.
last week's episode.
Oh, okay.
Eddie hears a rumor of cannibals in Eastern Europe.
Oh, yeah?
no.
Some sort of weird orange drink as well.
Sunny D? I'm on to you.
He calls Matthew to investigate.
That makes
Uh-oh.
sense.
They go to Eastern Europe. They fight some cannibals and kill them.
Ooh.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, Eddie sicked some crows on one and they pecked him to death.
Oh, that's right, because he's like Aquaman.
But for everything.
Oh, my
Aquamedi.
God. He talks to Aquamany animals.
He's Dr. Aquamedi.
There you
we
go.
And Matthew, I don't know, like zapped up with the umbrella. There was only 2. And then they found the orange drink. And then Eddie had 2 parrots drink it. And those parrots killed each other.
Did they? Is
What?
that what happens when you finish Sunny D?
I don't
No
know.
one's ever finished it, so humans don't know.
The world may never know.
Isaac had a laboratory
Oh.
where he's been putting human flesh in art-flavored drink.
Ooh.
Wait. He like grinds it up and puts it in orange flavored drinks?
I'm not sure of the process.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it is in the Sunny D that's so terrible?
That actually
Human
checks out.
flesh?
Well, he's been eating scientists to steal their brain
Oh,
powers.
yeah.
Mhm.
So this is some sort of evil plan that's definitely coming together.
It definitely seems like it's coming together.
It totally makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
So Eddie and Matthew,
After defeating the cannibals.
destroy the lab.
Nice.
But Isaac isn't there.
Uh-oh. Where did he
Where'd he go?
The trucks are missing with the orange stuff.
Oh, no.
They've been delivered.
We don't know where.
Oh, no.
But they did find a body.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh.
Using like Sherlock Holmes stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Investigation.
they call it
They
investigating.
find out that a man named Derek was fed the orange drink as a test subject,
Oh, he was their test
Oh.
subject?
but he was allergic to oranges.
Well, Sunny D has no oranges in it.
Well, it
I
must
think
not
it's
be
all
Sunny D then.
chemicals. Oh, okay. Well,
Legal loophole.
way to investigate, Todd.
And he went into epileptic shock.
Epileptic
He went
shock?
into
Epileptic.
he went into epileptic shock.
Anaphylactic.
Anaphylactic
There we
shock.
go.
I thought Mikey was going into shock when he was saying that word.
He had an EpiPen.
Uh-huh.
And then Isaac broke it in front of him and was like, fuck it, I just want to watch you die.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he power move snapped it?
Yeah.
Ooh, those things are really expensive.
They are.
Derek choked on his own stuff.
Anaphylaxis.
Anaphylaxis.
Oh,
I don't know what any of that
Derek.
means.
I'm
He closed
sorry.
his throat closed up and he couldn't breathe. And
Oh, well, at least the homeward bound animals weren't there
Stay tuned next week.
for another episode of The
The
Patreonicals.
Patreonicals.
This episode finally brought to you by
Chris.
Chris.
Hey, Chris. Chris just wants everyone to know that you are loved, you are not alone, and we see you. We know that life is hard sometimes. It's been real crazy recently. There's a lot of stressful shit going on.
It
Yeah.
rains all the time.
It's and we all have seasonal effectiveness
Nope,
disorder.
I'm only happy when it rains. I only like it when it's
all right,
complicated.
Lannis.
It's garbage.
It is garbage.
But yes, Chris is much nicer
Than we are.
than you guys, and he is delightful, and he's so sweet.
He is very sweet.
Yes,
And you guys
thank you
are
so
loved
much.
by everyone in the community.
And we see you, and join the Facebook group because it's real supportive.
It
there.
is. It's great. Do you guys see that? It's our
What?
theme music.
Stuck in the mud.
Our theme music is stuck in the mud, Jen.
Oh no!
Tie it to the only time they caught it.
Which one of us is diving? I am not jumping in the mud.
That's fucking funny.
Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everyone. I don't know what we used, but it got us there.
That's what she said.
Oh, listeners, I'm sorry. I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them.
Yes, we do.
And this week we watched a really stupid movie called The Woman in Black, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, Todd was very scared. This may have been the scariest you've been in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am
You're
still
welcome.
mad. So, Mikey, you picked this movie, right? So you've seen it before.
Yeah.
So when did you see it? It came out in 2012, right?
I probably saw it 2013, like when it came out on video. I remember watching it at home. That was all I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't really remember much about
No,
it.
I remember it had a bunch of cheap junk stairs. That's why I
Yeah.
picked it.
Thank you for that. Jen, was this the first time you had seen it?
No, I saw it at home too, and I actually saw this like right before I had my first child, so I was like
What?
super pregnant, and Corey and I were just watching it at home. Yeah,
Did you guys like it?
yeah. I mean, I thought it was fun. I like Harry Potter.
Oh.
I thought it was fine too. It
I
was
like The
a-
Ring. I like Disney. Those
Yeah.
things come together.
If you're in the
It's
mood for a
fun.
horror movie, it does the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super memorable, but I think it's effectively scary. It does remind me a lot of The Nun, and that's what we were talking
Yeah,
about
and The
before.
Nun's a horrible movie, though.
I think this one is better than The Nun
So
because I
do
think
I.
the story holds up better.
Exactly. So this was the first time I had seen it, and I really hated this movie.
Yeah, and you
It's
didn't really know
super
anything about it
scary. I
either.
knew nothing about it. Last
Yeah.
week you told me it was like Harry Potter and The Ring.
Yeah.
I can sort of see the Ring comparison, except
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the Ring, Samara wasn't like, well, I appreciate all the work you've done, but fuck you, I'm going to kill you anyway.
Yes, she does. She kills the guy. You got to make the tape. Oh, spoilers for The Ring.
Make a day.
Yeah, remember there's the moment when he said, no.
She walked right into it. Wrap it up, boys. So yeah, I hated this movie, but it's a horror movie.
Right. And this is one of the ones where I feel like you hate it because it really scares you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is gonna be really high on the scary scale for me.
This movie is effectively scary.
It is.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
like
so.
it's I don't know, it's just full of cheap jump scares. Like I don't
Yeah.
and it's not a whole lot of plot. Like when we go through the movie, I don't think it'll take very long because there's not a lot to it. It really is just, let's get this set piece to this set piece and then scare the shit out of Todd.
The plot is simple, but it is effective. And
Yeah.
Agreed.
like,
But it just feels like it's relentless. Like at some point, I was like, I can't watch him walk into another room and
I
be
know.
afraid of what's in the corner.
he is
you
the
know?
most fearless son of a bitch I've ever seen on
That's
film.
why I hated it. Like he doesn't do anything like any real person would do.
Right.
Because the first time he saw anything weird, he would have taken that candle and lit one of the tapestries and fucking bailed.
It's a real Slytherin move.
It is.
I think the movie tried to explain it away. Like, I think my wife just kind of like she's got a ghosty, so like I'm gonna try to explore.
My
ghosty
wife
stuff.
ghosted me when she gave birth to our child. Is that what you were saying, Mikey?
Yes.
I do think there's an element of he's real depressed and kind of doesn't have a lot to lose. And
Passively suicidal,
right,
sure,
right.
yeah.
And like maybe if he can connect with this ghost, he can connect with his wife's ghost, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, you know my wife? I don't think they effectively conveyed
Me
that.
either.
Yeah.
The only thing that explains his behavior is like cocaine, like
Yeah.
Victorian era cocaine.
Right?
Like, his eyes look gorgeous in this movie.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
did.
That wasn't the
I
only
think I sort of
thing that
fell in
looked
love with Daniel
gorgeous.
Radcliffe in this
Yes,
movie a
man.
little bit. Yeah.
It was
You
the
didn't have to
brightest
wear a
part.
sweater.
Listen, I get it. I get it.
You just like him in this movie because he's wearing 19 Victorian era layers.
Honestly,
That's true.
I would wear that suit. I would rock that suit he was wearing.
I think Todd's got a button fetish.
Ooh, baby, get me some buttons to unbutton.
Could you imagine a top hat?
With a buckle? Mm.
Oh, like a pilgrim buckle.
Yeah.
They're Puritan.
But we aren't.
God, stop, you guys! You're making me Plymouth Rock hard.
All right, we got to get into this fucking movie. I don't have
Listeners, I'm
time for
sorry.
your Puritan pornographic puns.
Listeners, this is what happens when we record at night.
Holy shit, Jen. Let's get into this fucking
All
movie.
right, so we've got, first we have a silent Hogwarts Express.
Yeah, that's one of the like production companies. But I was
It
like,
is,
is that
yeah.
the Hogwarts Express?
I think it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is, yes.
And then it's Hammer Time.
Oh my god.
And I've got a fun fact about that.
Let's
Should we
do
do
it
it
now
now?
because
Okay.
I'm super interested. It looked like the beginning of a Marvel movie.
Jen's fun fact came really early this
Oh
time.
yeah, she did.
Oh, it's all that hammering, you know. All right. So this is a Hammer film.
MC Hammer?
No,
He's-
stop, Todd.
Hammer gonna hurt you.
Collaborate.
That's Ice. That's Vanilla
fuck.
Ice.
Dun.
That's also Vanilla Ice. You guys are thinking I can't touch this.
Fun.
pressure.
That's Vanilla Ice. That's actually Queen.
Don't go chasing waterfalls, Todd.
That's
Let's
TLC.
focus.
Holy shit! This is the
This
perfect
how we
episode.
die.
We're never leaving this pod locked.
Maybe we are dead.
Oh my god.
All right. So Hammer is a British production company. It was founded in 1934 and it's best
Shit.
known for gothic horror movies
Oh.
like Frankenstein, The Mummy,
Oh, no
and
shit.
Dracula. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So when you're looking at this style of movie, this is very much a Hammer style movie.
Like
yeah.
Bram Stoker or whatever
Yeah.
his name is.
Oh my
No.
God.
Yes.
I mean, no, it's just very like The Nun was trying to be a Hammer film.
Oh, it
You
wasn't
know?
though.
No, well, I mean, it was a
Oh,
problem.
Hammer, don't hurt him.
Yeah, man, it was not legit.
No,
It had to quit.
but I did want to quit it. All right.
Hey.
All right, but so that's what Hammer is for. And,
Okay.
And Hammer, it went dormant for a long time because, like, when movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff, like, the gothic style kind of fell away. And then, so this was one of the first ones to kind of try to revive the studio.
Well, it did pretty well, so.
It
There
did,
you go.
yes. After Hammer Time, we have an evil tea party with some of the creepiest dolls I have ever seen in
Yeah,
my
I don't
life.
like any of the dolls in this movie.
We see three girls and they're having a tea party.
Yeah.
And then they look at something over there. And then they look at the window all together. And it's like they're watching like a tennis match or something. But then they all get up and they slowly start because they're looking in.
Yeah,
I got it. It's
Goodness.
funny.
Yeah,
I'm
we,
laughing.
we're with you.
We're reacting to the joke. That's
Yeah, Jen, this is what it like when your joke actually lands.
Oh, and I
Oh,
realized.
speaking of that, they jump out the window.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Yeah, all three of the little girls walk to the window and jump out.
Yeah, it's really sad. There's a lot of child suicide in this.
Which is
movie.
not
Yes.
funny.
Yes, Mikey, you're laughing a lot at child suicide.
She's only 13, Mikey.
Well, at the end of the movie, we find out it's child murder.
It is, yeah. So that's funnier?
Fuck. We haven't had a silly episode in a while.
Well, we are now.
Now buckle up, guys. All right, so now
Ooga.
Harry Potter is looking sad. Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe is looking sad.
So it's in early 20th century England.
Yes.
And Harry Potter is with a governess and his little son, who's like maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, very young.
Yes. And he's drawing him like a calendar because even at 4, he knows how they work. And
He's got really good handwriting and spelling, too.
he does.
Yeah, for a 4 or 5-year-old, absolutely.
Wednesday killed it.
Yeah, man, that's a hard word. Wednesday.
Yeah.
But so he's he's written this out because his dad, Harry Potter, is about to go on a journey for his job. He's going to be out of town, so he's going to stay with his governess.
Yes.
And then they're going to join him in this England town on the moors later on Friday. So this is a calendar to like count down till the next time we see his son. And we also see in the picture that this is mommy, this is daddy, this is governess, and this is mommy in heaven. So now we know that the mother is dead.
The mother died,
Yeah, we're
absolutely,
going to find out a little bit more about that later, but yeah.
Yeah, so like when he's packing up his stuff, we see a lot of things real quick. And one of the things we see is that he's super late on some bills.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
in dire straits.
Texted
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Boom.
But so he has a meeting with his employer, and there is someone who died in a house, and his job, he's like a probate lawyer. And so his job is to go through this house and find all the paperwork and to try to find the most recent copy of the will so they know who this house is going to actually go to. Anyway, so his job is to try to find this will. And there's a man named Jerome who has not been particularly helpful.
Right, but he's like the local lawyer who's like supposed
Right.
to be handling this for the firm, whether he works for the firm or not. But he has not been helpful because the place is fucking haunted and it should be burned to the ground.
Exactly. And he knows. So maybe he is being helpful.
And
it's just deceptively helpful.
Not a good lawyer because his boss is like, oh, and if you don't get this done, you're fired.
Yeah, I realize you're sad because your wife died, but
right. But
you're
lock
gonna be
it up.
fired.
But then you pointed out that the kid's like 5 years old, so
Yeah.
like he should
Yeah.
be like performing.
Listen, I would say it's time to move on with your life. 5 years or 6 years, however old the kid is, like you'd still be sad, but you can like take the wedding ring off and like maybe start to meet some
Also,
ladies.
well, like that
and-
governess was like real nice to the kid, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
was not.
Nope. Power dynamic. Can't date your governess.
No, you can't date her.
You can marry her.
Yeah,
All right. But so this is his last chance or he's going to get fired.
It is his
He's
last
like,
chance,
fuck your
yeah.
sadness. You're a man.
yeah, grow up.
Uh-huh.
Because you're a 25-year-old with a 5-year-old son and a dead wife.
Oh.
I'm gonna send you to debt collector's prison.
I really felt bad for Daniel
I
in
did
this movie.
too.
Like his wife died. He's got a 5-year-old son, and he's really young in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but he doesn't look a day over 25.
Yeah, probably.
So like his wife died when he was 19.
I know.
Like it's horrible.
All right. And so now we see a flashback and we find out that she died in childbirth, which is really sad.
Yeah, it's real sad.
Yeah, but it happened quite a bit back then because of
Absolutely, man.
medicine,
It's
you know?
dangerous.
All right. So some dude picks him up. And I found out about halfway through the movie that this guy's name is Sam.
Yes,
But I
Sam Daly is his name.
Yeah. But I kept calling him Harry Potter Man and that guy, and I
Everyone in
couldn't
this
remember his
movie
name.
is vaguely familiar English actor.
Right, yeah. Maybe was in one of the Harry Potters or Downton Abbey.
No,
or
this dude's a
something.
big actor. Like he was in the HBO show Rome. He was Caesar in Rome.
But so he played Aberforth Dumbledore. Aberforth.
Oh, his brother who owned the
yeah.
Hogwarts.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he
yes.
did.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
Dumbledore's brother.
Yeah.
Which is I think is in only the last Deathly Hallows.
Right, because he owns
Yeah.
the pub, right?
Mhm. But he was also in V for Vendetta.
Yes,
too.
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's one of those guys who's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's a hey that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great.
He is great.
But so, and his name is Sam, and I'm going to call him that. But he picks him up and invites him over for dinner the next night.
He didn't pick him up. They met on the train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah. They shared the chocolate frogs and stuff.
It was a meet cute on the train, yes. And then he takes him from the train station to the inn or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he even says when he's getting out of the car, you should come over for dinner tomorrow night because my dog wouldn't eat what they serve in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he gets out and goes in. But then Daniel Radcliffe goes in and talks to the, I guess, innkeeper who's behind the bar, which I guess is probably common at that time.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no room in the inn.
Yeah, they don't have any room. But then his wife comes over and she's like, no, I think we can find some
Wait,
room.
you think that was his wife?
I think so.
I
Yeah, I,
don't
think
know,
they own
man.
the place
She was
together.
pretty flirty.
Yeah, she was all over DR.
It
well, maybe
was
she
his
wanted,
wife.
Maybe she wanted to take it out.
His wand. She's the mom of the 3 girls who jumped out of the.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they take him up to the attic. She's like, well, we could put him in the attic. Now you can fuck him there and you won't know.
She does seem super into him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the bird talking, though.
It's really his eyes, man.
I mean, look
Yeah,
at him.
I
And that
get it.
jaw.
But so she takes him upstairs to the attic, and then they see a bird who's like making these bird sounds. That never really comes back, though.
No, it
I thought
doesn't.
it was going to be like he was going to get like a clue from the bird, but you never get that. So they go upstairs to the attic, meet the bird, and then they go upstairs again to the attic's attic, and that's the room he stays in.
Right. And it's the same room that the girls killed themselves.
Yes, it is.
Jumped out the window.
But nothing happens in that room. He just gets a good night's sleep, and we see him the next morning leaving the inn.
Except there are a bunch of evil dolls in there.
Literally nothing happens up there. He just goes to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
But that just proves, like, if anything bad happens and I don't know about it, don't tell me about it. Because
no shit.
I would have been able to sleep up there not knowing that those girls had killed themselves
Just
out
gotta
that
turn
window.
the dolls away from
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so the next morning he is walking to Jerome's house and he's seeing some kids in their little kind of courtyard area, and then it's 3 kids. 2 may or may not be Weasleys because they got bright red hair, and then there's a girl.
Right.
And then the dad comes out and gives him a mean look and makes him go back inside.
Yeah, he ushers the kids back inside.
Yeah. And so now he gets to the Jerome house and he sees a woman there, and she says her husband went to meet you.
But Jerome's like the local solicitor.
He is,
who's
yeah. And
not
he's
being very helpful.
Exactly. And he tried to meet him like at the train station. He tried to send all the paperwork to London. Basically, he does not want them there. He wants Harry Potter to get the fuck out.
Right.
Hey, I'll take you. Your train's leaving in 30 minutes.
Yeah, everybody's really mean to him.
Yeah,
Right.
the general consensus of everyone he meets in town is fuck off and go home.
Right. Yeah. And if he didn't have his job to do, I would. But so he goes out and he's talking to the driver and he's saying, take me to the Eel Marsh house
Yeah.
is what the name of this house is. But the driver's saying Jerome paid him to take him to the station. So now Harry Potter has to give him a bunch of shillings to take him to the
6
Eel house.
shillings.
6 shillings.
Yeah.
Yes. And
because
it's a penny.
because no one else will take you there.
Right, exactly. You're not going to be able to find anybody in the town that'll take you.
Because it's haunted as fuck.
It is. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're driving out there and they're driving across these snow-covered marshlands.
They're not. It's just puddly. What you're seeing is the reflection of the gray
Ah.
sky on the
Oh.
marsh.
In the
But I
puddles.
like snow.
So it's like at high tide you can't get to the island.
Right. Because
Right,
it's
right.
marshland. Yeah.
Yeah. So the road will be swept under the water after tides. So there's a ticking tide clock.
There is. It's conveniently plot based, though.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And everyone knows when the tide is in this town.
They have an
Well, yeah.
encyclopedic knowledge of the tide.
Yes,
yeah.
because if they don't, then an evil woman in black kills all their children. And they
no,
get
they
stuck.
just don't go out there. You just don't go to that
Well, that's
house
true.
and you'll be fine.
I'd still be like, wait, what time does the tide go out?
It happens at 4 every day, Mikey.
It
That's
doesn't.
not true.
I don't know.
In this movie, it's like very random times.
Yeah.
All right, so he walks to the house. Oh, but as he's driving out, he sees a big cross grave marker.
Yeah.
Which is a little grave shadowing.
Can we talk about the cross grave marker? Spoilers, their wagon crashed there,
Yeah.
but they couldn't recover the wagon or the body, so they go all the way out there and put a cross in it all
I
the
know.
way down.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, they may have been able to get it, but they couldn't pull it out.
Jen, you can always pull it out
It
if you can
got
get
stuck. No, if it's too big, it gets stuck.
And that's how babies are made.
it. I honestly think they just stood in the road and threw the.
Right.
They threw, what you don't see, Mikey, is like 80 other crosses they threw trying to get it to land
sink
perfectly.
down.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it just took them a long time to get that cross to stay where it is. Yeah.
All right, we see the grave shadowing, and then he walks up to the house, and it is very overgrown, and he has to walk through a graveyard to get there.
It is the most haunted house I've ever seen
It
in
really
my
is.
fucking life.
It's almost like comically haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
like
ugh.
if you drew a picture of a haunted house, well, that's what it would look like.
It looks like the Haunted Mansion from Disney World.
Except way more haunted.
But it's like, how long has this lady been dead?
A million years.
Because like they go into the house and it like looks like she's been dead for 200
Oh,
years.
yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Here's what I think happened. That this house had been abandoned and there's some distant relative that owns this house just in name only and doesn't go there. And that's how they kept everyone away from it. And now this lady has died and this is a piece of her estate that they have to deal with now because she didn't have any kids or something.
Yeah, okay.
That's no part of the movie.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I
it
mean-
looks like nobody has been in this house in like 40 years at least.
Yeah. But I don't think that that's true because the kid died And the kid, I don't think the kid died, but more than a few years ago, right?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
No, it has to have been more than that because Sam Daly's kid died a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the kid deaths did not start until she lost her kid.
So he's in this super creepy cobweb house, and he's kind of walking through it, and we're seeing how creepy he is. We see an old-timey wheelchair, all the cobwebs in the world, and he's starting to hear some whispers. And then we see a woman that we thought was just like a column or something turn around, and she's got all black and she's got a veil on. It looks a lot like the nun,
It
except
does.
not a nun.
Yeah, it's just a
know?
woman.
All right, so he sits down to just like a ton of crumpled up papers. And we see the tide starting to come in. And he finds in these papers, we find some birthday cards.
To Nathaniel.
To Nathaniel, yes. And a death certificate for Nathaniel.
Right.
And we find that he drowned in the marshland and that his body was not recovered.
Yeah, so pretty quickly we realize that cross is Nathaniel's cross.
Yeah, it's for Nathaniel. Yeah. Which I kind of like that they just laid that mystery out. Like, for what the mystery is, we don't have to search for it too much. Because they could have added 45 minutes of investigation.
This is not a thinking man's horror movie, and I like it like that.
That does not surprise me at all.
No. All right, so he goes upstairs to an evil hallway, and he's looking in lanterns with bedrooms, and all of the shutters are shaded. So
I think he heard like a banging or something.
He did, yeah. And then he's trying to open doors, and he opens one door, and the door handle's all muddy.
It's covered in mud, which would make sense because that's where Nathaniel is, yeah.
Right, yeah. And there's like a lot of series of him hearing noises and going to investigate more and more creepy looking rooms.
Right.
Because he's the bravest man in the world.
Yeah, he is, man.
He deserves a medal for bravery.
50 points to House Gryffindor.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, listeners. So he gets to like the 5th room or something, and he's looking and he sees a baby bird in a bird's nest.
Yeah, this part scared the shit out of me.
This may have been one of the first ones because, there's a crow. Yeah.
And then the crow like jumps onto the bed and he like opens the window to try and let it out.
And what does he see? He sees a woman in black.
Imagine that.
In the cemetery.
I hate it.
He saw the name of the movie. And then the crow distracts him, and then he looks back and she's gone. So he runs outside to see it. As he's running around trying to find where this lady is, it's really misty, and he starts hearing screaming and horses neighing.
Yes.
And so he's running around in this mist, and it's so
He
misty.
runs out into the road.
He does, yeah, and he finds the cross.
Yes.
And then at one point we see just a quick flash of a buggy cart, kind of sinking into the mud. Yeah. And then he's running around still hearing all these noises.
And he's like yelling out like to show yourselves, where are you?
Right.
Let me help you.
Right,
because he's
right.
hearing like these screams of like, help me, that kind of stuff.
Right. And then bam, there's the fisherman driver man
That scared
right behind
the
him.
shit out of me.
That was another jump scare. And listeners,
Oh my
I got
God.
a lot of these on tape, and this was really funny. So check out our Facebook group for that video.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was you screaming about it, but also like, no, because the build up to a lot of these
You sound
things.
just like him.
Oh. You guys are dicks.
Oh,
I
no.
hated this movie so much.
Well, because it's so much jump scare, but it's also like really oppressively scary atmosphere, you know? Because there were several times when I was recording you waiting for a jump scare and it didn't happen.
Yeah, there's no comic relief here.
No, there's not.
No.
It is relentless jump scare after jump scare and not a lot of plot.
Yeah. So now he's back in town and he's talking to someone. He's saying he saw the woman there, and the guy's like, "Oh,
I did not realize that that's what happened.
Yeah, he
Okay.
told him that, and he doesn't really have a big reaction, but he just looks up at him like, "Oh shit."
Well, I'd imagine that this is something that's gone on in this town for years and years and years and years and years.
Which is
right?
why they didn't want him there in the first
Right.
place. They didn't want him to go to the house.
Anytime someone goes there, it sets off another child murder spree. I
right?
guess.
Yeah.
I think I would have moved
Me too.
after like the 3rd child murder spree.
Or the 3rd sequence in the child murder spree, right?
But I mean, like, there's a lot of child deaths. I've been like, we have a child killer.
Conservatively, 98 kids die in this movie.
There's only like 15 adults.
Well, it's because you don't survive childhood in this town.
Right. But they don't have a child killer. It's like child suicide.
That's fair. Yeah, she like convinces them to kill
Oh
themselves.
my God, this is
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, it's Nightmare on Elm Street, The Ring / Harry Potter / it's a little bit The Thing and The Shining too.
Yeah, it's everything.
Stop the shoehorning in your fucking favorite horror IP.
So now the 3 kids that we saw earlier are coming back in, and the 2 boys are bringing their sister, and she looks all messed up. And they said she drank some lye.
Yeah.
He goes, Constable!
Yeah, he starts yelling for the constable.
Yeah, and she spurts up blood.
Yeah.
and then
Dies.
yeah.
Oh yeah, she's definitely dead at this point.
Because then we see him with his dreamy eyes looking sadly at a house where the constable is telling her parents, and we hear her parents screaming.
Yeah.
And then her dad carries her out, and you see her hand like limply, and it's really sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
The mom like stumbles, almost falling down to her knees as she like. It's so
You
sad.
guys are bringing me down.
We are.
All
We're
this,
just talking
all
about
this
the movie.
child death is bringing me down.
I know, man.
Such a
Go back to
bummer.
earlier where this was silly.
Well, we'll get there in a minute. So now we're back at the inn, and he's hearing crying upstairs, and it's the innkeeper lady.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
thought it was the bird.
It was the parrot.
I
And-
thought it was the
Oh.
bird. I
She
don't think
just-
that's a parrot. Parrots are like brightly colored.
Right.
First off, that's racist.
I think it's ornithologist actually.
Uh-huh.
Some parrots are not brightly colored.
Mike is gonna back out of this joke. Jen, do you have any fun facts
Anyways.
about the bird?
No, I don't. Except that the bird picks up sadness and really likes to mock you when you're finally happy
Yeah,
by
that's what it
reminding
is.
you of what you sound like when you cry. So she's like, she brings him down. She's like, here, I'm going to pour you a drink. And then your train leaves in 30 minutes because don't you want to get the fuck out of here now? Because we all want you to get the fuck out of here.
This place is truly a geographical oddity. Every 30 minutes they have a train.
I
Yeah,
know.
but there's only 20 people.
Exactly.
I know, except for
Right.
at the very end when the train comes 30 seconds after it arrives.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ghost train because the other train just left. They
Yeah.
crashed into each other.
Yeah.
I
The
hear-
ghost train!
All right, so she pours him a drink and she's telling him he needs to get back to his son and that he should be cherishing his son because I mean she just lost all her kids. And it's sad.
It is very sad.
All right.
And she's like touching his arm and stuff.
Yeah, she's
She-
trying to
she-
seduce him out of town.
I've been there.
Wow. Yeah.
If I can just get this over with, I can get this date.
She's really
off my
into him,
books.
though. She
I
really
mean,
is.
I think it's more Jen. Like she's like flirting him out, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's happened to me.
Do you want to be my boyfriend? Oh, I'm leaving. I got to get out of this
Right.
town.
Yeah, maybe
That's more of a Mikey move.
I don't know if she's seducing you out of town or as much as you just leave when she starts seducing you.
No, he usually leaves after the product of the seduction takes place.
I have to go though. I have a dog. She needs to
Yeah.
be let out.
I have a really early meeting.
All right, so now he's going to a gravesite for another child. So he
Which
walks.
is like weird that he's kind of invited himself.
No, Sam asked him.
Yeah, so remember Sam said, hey, come over for dinner. So he goes over to Sam's house and
Yeah.
sees Sam outside the tomb. So he walks over to Sam.
And apparently Sam is loaded. They're like the richest people in town.
In the county.
And so he's talking about his son Nicholas and bidding him goodbye. And he's saying there's a place for all of us and we're going to be reunited in the afterlife.
He was just saying goodnight to him. It's like something
Right.
he does every night.
Right. And it
Super
is
helpful.
kind of sweet, yeah. But he says, hey, when we get inside, don't bring up kids with my wife because, well, just don't.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Right. And so they go in and they're sitting down to eat. And she's got little doggy high chairs.
Which I thought was adorable,
I
which I'll
know.
probly have to end up owning if some certain person
You have to
sees
get
this movie.
9 of them.
If you meet a blonde with 2 small dogs, go the other direction.
Still hasn't returned that text.
So now they're eating dinner, and we got the doggy high chairs.
Yes.
And she's saying they don't have anyone to leave their fortune to. And she's talking about the picture she painted of Nicholas.
Which are so dumb looking.
Well,
I mean, they're
just not
amateur.
great. Yeah, she's not
Right.
a professional.
But like imagine like the Biltmore mansion with like hand-drawn pictures of like a boy and it's like
Yeah.
it's like a circle and a smiley
She's a
face.
sad mom
But
going
it's like
through
a
a grieving
golden opulent
process.
frame.
She's no Barbara Ross. I'm just saying she's doing her best.
Yeah,
And she's
it's
grieving
her
her,
hobby.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam's wife asks, do you have any kids? And he goes, yeah, I have a boy. And then you can almost see Sam do, oh boy, with his eyes. He's
Right.
like, oh, here we fucking
And you
go.
can see her go, oh.
Oh boy.
I'm a boy too. He lives inside me.
Right. He likes to draw picture.
He wants to
Picture,
draw one for
picture
you now.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
and it turns on a dime like that.
It
and
is insane.
It should be really sad,
His car.
but it's real bizarre.
Sam's like, Alfred, get the owl doll.
He fucking chloroforms her.
Yeah. And then kisses her on the mouth while she's chloroformed.
Ugh. Don't do that.
No.
Well, I mean,
No. Not even in old timey times.
that's a really expensive table.
Not anymore, Mikey. Not anymore.
All right, so now they're having brandies in the drawing room.
I guess his wife retired to her room.
Was that chlor of bad form?
It was. It is bad form.
It
to
was bad
chloroform
form.
your
Yeah,
wife.
she
yeah.
retired. Oh, pardon me, my wife is just having the vapors.
Yeah.
No.
She has to go
Henchman,
lay
will
back
you
on the
get
chaise
her? Yeah.
lounge.
Not cool, Sam. I was on board with you for a while.
I still like Sam.
Yeah, he's a ride or die bitch, man.
He's doing the best he can, with what he has.
He like goes to a haunted house with that dude, Harry Potter.
So they retire to the smoking room to
Yes.
have brandies and talk
Gentlemen
about the
brandies.
spirituality of whatever.
The
Right.
world.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're talking about it, and because Sam is very rational, and he's saying, I don't believe in any of this, and it's just superstition and shadows. And Harry Potter is saying, I didn't believe it until my wife died.
Right. And I got my letter from Hogwarts.
Exactly. And he's like, oh, I didn't know your wife died.
But he's also like, I didn't know your wife died, but like also still ghosts don't exist.
Yeah, but he's saying Harry Potter is saying sometimes he's saying sometimes I feel like she's still there. But he's also, I think this was around the time when spiritualism was really popular.
Yeah.
Um,
it was. Spiritualism
yeah.
was very popular.
It's popular now.
I mean, it's not as popular as it was, but I mean, it
Goop Lab.
still was.
That's
yeah.
not the same as spiritualism, though.
That's more quote unquote wellness. But like spiritualism was big until like this almost 70s. It's because of people like the amazing Randy debunking it
Yeah.
that
Right.
it sort of died away.
But so he's saying that a lot of those people are like hacks and they're just trying to use you and get your money, and it's like clever guesswork. So don't fall for it. But then Harry Potter later on, he's going to bed and he comes to the table and he sees that the picture, this is when he notices that it looks like a hanged woman.
Yes.
On the table.
Yeah, the wife carved into the table with a knife.
So now they're going back to Jerome's house and he's hearing some noises or something. Oh, and this is where we'd seen Jerome's wife come up from this downstairs
carrying
area.
food on a tray.
Yeah, so he goes down to try to find her, and I think he's just being a normal person, but he sees a creepy room with a little peephole, and he looks in, scared the shit out of
hated
Todd.
this.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't scare the shit out of me. Jerome's daughter scared the shit out of
Right.
me because they're keeping her prison in the basement of their
Mm-hmm.
house/office.
Right, and she's yelling at him to go away and that he killed Victoria Hardy and that he needs to leave.
Right.
Well, and so now Sam and Harry are trying to drive away to the house, and all the men in the town are in the way blocking him and saying, you need to get the fuck out of
They
here.
look a little drunk and they're crying.
Especially the guy whose daughter just died.
He
Yeah.
said, you killed my daughter.
And Sam's like, this is poppycock.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, but didn't your son die in the same way?
And he's like,
He's like, ooh.
Sam is a very logical thinker. So he's just like, no, my kid died because it got caught up in the tide.
Right.
Like that happens. It's an accident. Nothing untoward happened.
Right. Well, and I also, because as they're talking about it, because he fakes him out and says, okay, I'm going to take him to the station, and then almost plows over all
Yeah, he
of them.
backs way up and then just
Right.
speeds through them. Yeah.
Which, man of action, I'm on.
well,
I'm
he's got his
for it.
Montgomery Burns like old timey car.
He
It's like
does.
a Rolls
Beep,
Royce.
beep.
Yeah.
They're talking on the way out, and he's saying, I think he's wanting to be rational because he doesn't want to think of his son like trapped in this like ghost hellscape, and he
Right.
wants to. He keeps saying we'll reunite with each other in the afterlife. So I think that's kind of why he's
Yeah.
like holding on to that, because he wants to
Which
think
is a good piece
positively.
of dialogue. I feel like the
It
movie
is.
gets really close to being like serious and but fails.
Yeah, it's like so close to having an interesting plot.
Yeah. Or to making deeper points. You
Sure.
know? All right. So now he's back in the super evil haunted house and he's lighting the lights. Oh, kind Sam is saying, okay, I'll pick you up in a couple of hours so you don't have to stay in the evil house. And he's like, no. It's an evil house, but I'm just going to work through the night because I'm crazy.
Right. Because
Yeah.
the tide comes back in at like 11 o'clock at
Right.
night.
Yeah.
And so Sam just says, well, if you're going to stay all night, take my dog for company.
Right. Which thank goodness he does.
I mean, that's very kind of him, but
It
like I
is.
would never let my dog go into a haunted
Oh
house.
my gosh, no.
So he's inside the house. He's lighting all the lights. He's trying to open a door, but he can't find the right key. And this happens quite a bit.
Yeah, this is pretty common.
This
Yeah.
is when Todd and I were like, I would just fake this job at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I watched a child die and I had to go like continue with my work, I'd be like, here's the will, and I would burn all the other documents in the
He
backyard.
has the will. The local lawyer gave him like a stack of papers that has the will in it.
They just have to make sure there's nothing else in the house.
You don't have to do that if the house is a burning cinder
Exactly.
ash of
I just feel like
nothingness.
that house is big. I looked around. I didn't see anything. If you find anything else, I'm not like fucking Inspector Gadget. So
I don't think you know what Inspector Gadget did.
he
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
was a detective.
No, he wasn't.
He was an inspector.
Penny was,
Mhm.
and she did all the real work.
She couldn't get a license without her dad. Okay.
That's true. And honestly, he needs a Penny in this movie because
Mm-hmm.
he needs someone to do the investigating.
All right. But so he finds a trunk with a whole bunch more papers in it.
junk in
Yes.
that trunk.
Yeah, there is some
a
junk
lot
in
of
there.
junk in that trunk. Yes.
And he is looking under the bed for more. dangerously leaving himself unprotected.
Oh my God. I hated this because then you see the rose hand slap the like strange glass part of the door across the hallway.
And so he goes into the bathroom, which has a giant window in the bathroom door. And he goes in, and this is one of the times where it builds so much tension that never really lets off, you know? And so the reason I'm saying it is because it's building all this tension, but you never get to release it.
Yeah.
I've
It's
been
just
there.
kind of like you're waiting. Yeah, you got blue horror balls, you know?
Ectoplasm is gonna go everywhere.
Oh God.
No, you just can't get there yet.
Someone's about to get slimed though.
Gross. Ooh.
Right,
We're on
Jen?
the edging of our seat.
Okay, so he's back downstairs and he sees one of those spinny evil things with like it's like a little animation thing. And there's one in The Conjuring and
Part two.
also in House on Haunted Hill, the remake.
Yeah.
And it's super evil. And so as he's spinning it, allegedly, because Todd and I didn't see it,
I was still scared from
face
the
was
bathroom
there.
scene. Yeah, so her face was there.
Her
Mikey.
face popped up. She's like,
Her
"Oh,
face
that's
popped
pretty,"
up.
and then she goes away. You're like, "Oh."
You said you were scared.
I did get scared.
yeah, he
Yeah.
said, oh, that's scary.
I'm glad I
I
missed
said,
it.
"Whoa, that's scary."
I'm glad I missed it.
These are the kind of things that do really scare me too.
It was a quick one. I feel like this movie has like jump scares you wouldn't catch until the second viewing
right.
because like the whole thing is definitely Hollows filtered and very dark.
Well, and that's like that Hammer feel too. Is like the that's like
Oh my God. We should not podcast this late
listeners. I'm
on
sorry.
a work night. Oh my God.
You guys have ruined me. So now he goes down and he's continuing his investigation. And so he's finding a bunch of old-timey pictures with like red writing on it that says, "She will haunt me to my grave and God protect me."
Yeah.
And we're hearing like whispering and like tense sounding stuff. And then the dog starts barking.
Which I think was written by that lady at that manor.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And we haven't quite figured out this mystery yet, but it is very
I
ominous.
assume lays it all out in front of us and
Scratches our eyes out with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It does gift wrap the plot for you.
It does, which
Yeah.
I'm okay with.
I'm
Sure.
okay
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
It's a Monday.
All right. And so the dog starts barking. And so he goes outside into the graveyard and we see her watching him. And so he sees a memorial for Nathaniel because I don't
Yes.
think they found his body, but they see the grave of Jeanette Drablow.
Yes.
All right. So now as he's walking back, he looks up.
Yeah,
and
this is
he's-
when he sees her in that attic room that he's not been able to get into
Right.
yet.
He sees her face.
Right.
And so instead of
scared.
running away terrified like a normal person would do,
You go invent a rocket launcher and blow this fucking house up.
No,
I know.
He's like, "I'm gonna go find that woman in the attic."
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go talk to her because I'm an
lonely.
idiot.
Oh.
you're a moron,
Yeah.
Harry.
He is.
All right, so he goes upstairs and the door that was locked is now open and
Yeah.
it stares up to another room. And so he's looking out the window. And as we were talking about how funny it would be if she saw him and then she's right behind him and it scared the shit out
Yes,
of Todd.
again, I like yelled. It scared the shit out of me.
But he doesn't see, he just feels something weird and scary. But then he opens up the
I've been there. Right, Mikey?
listeners.
Wanker.
So he finds a window box right under this and he finds a bunch of letters inside it. And so he's taking the letters downstairs and we're starting to hear a woman's voice reading some of this letters. And it is Jeanette, which is the grave that we just saw.
Right.
And saying, and I didn't get exactly what she was saying, but basically there's a man who says, his doctor says that she's unfit to take care of her child. So she has no choice but to give the child up. And I think that there's a sister who's raising the
The
child.
sister's married to the dude.
Right. Alice, I think, might be her name. Anyways, it doesn't really matter because basically this woman has had to give up her child.
Right.
And then we get more letters where she's saying the sister won't let her visit her son.
Or give him the birthday cards that she's been sending.
Right.
That's why she has all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but she'll find a way to see him. Harry's looking at a picture and we see her in the window just like he saw her a minute ago.
In the picture, though, yeah, looking
so-
down on the family that probably, I believe, is raising her son now.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
So the woman back has a boy.
Right.
Her sister and brother-in-law adopted.
Yes.
She lives in the same house as them.
I guess.
and then mails them letters
But
from
they
upstairs
don't-
in the attic.
and they don't let her see her kid,
Yeah.
who also lives there.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's very weird.
How does she mail the letters?
It's almost like it's a bad movie.
She just slides them under the doors.
Yeah.
Sister, I know that I won't open the door and see my son, but here's a letter saying I'm really mad at you for not letting me see my son.
It's real passive aggressive.
I wonder if the adopted parents, her sister and her sister's husband, live at a different place. Maybe that was like an action shot of them taking the kid away from the house.
Oh,
My God.
maybe just to save it.
No.
It's a real dick move.
No, it's a real power move.
Yeah, especially how long it took you to make pictures back then.
Oh, yeah. They had to stand there for 15 minutes while a photographer took their photo just so when they got home, they could send it to her sister.
My headcanon is they tired of that rocking chair. That's why she was rocking it so much.
No, she hangs herself on that rocking chair. What you're hearing in that rocking chair is her rocking back so fast so that she can like jump
Launch
off
herself
of it. Yeah.
off.
Well, I thought it was autoerotic.
She went like David Carradine.
Auto a rockin' affix.
Oh, there we go. That's the joke, Jen.
So now we have one more letter, and this
Right.
letter has been written after her son has died because she's saying you didn't try to save him.
You just
didn't-
left him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't even give him a proper burial. He's still in the mud. His blood is on your hands, and I will never forgive you. I
Never
hope you
forgive.
rot in hell.
Never
Yeah.
forgive.
And so then he finds her death certificate. It says she hung herself in the nursery.
Self-murder.
Self-murder, yeah.
Yes.
And as he's watching this, he decides that's enough for right now, and I'm just going to take a couple minutes of shut-eye. And this is
Yeah.
super creepy.
He literally leans back and gets a quick sleep.
With his back to an open door in an evil house.
He's got a dog to protect him.
Well, that's true. And
This is ridiculous, though. But what we see is down the hall, the door behind, way behind him, across the foyer opens, and she slowly creeps up. And then we switch to her perspective, and it creeps for like 30 seconds
Yeah.
up onto DR, or Daniel Radcliffe, as we call him. As she gets into the room he's in, you hear the dog start barking. We see that. We see her hand reach out, and then he wakes up and turns around, and then nothing.
right, yeah.
It's a waste of a minute and a half.
You were scared.
I was scared, but there is no release of that tension.
Yeah, it was very ominous
Yes.
imagery, though.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of imagery that really scares me sometimes.
I will say that I think the character and the makeup and stuff of the woman in black was really well done.
Me
I
too.
think so, too.
She was scary as fuck.
She was.
But I do really like the design of her because it's not too over the top.
Right.
You know, it's just very creepy. And so now that dog has saved his life, he looks and sees the pictures and the eyes have been scratched out
Yes.
of the family that stole her son. All right, and he hears banging upstairs. Like,
And this is when he goes and checks out the nursery again. And this is when you see the rocking chair really rocking. We
Right.
talked about it a little bit before. And this is where we sort of see how she kills herself.
right, because we're also hearing ropes creaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes him a long time to get up there. And at first it's stuck, and then he has to go back and get it. I thought was a hammer, but
gets
it's
It's a
an
hand
axe.
axe, yeah.
Yeah, a hand axe. And then, but he comes back and the door's open. But that takes 5 minutes of creepiness.
Yeah.
And so he walks in and.
Creepy toys go off.
Oh, yeah, man. There's a bunch of windy, creepy toys that scared the shit out of Todd.
Yeah.
And so the chair is rocking back and forth really, really fast. And at one point, we see her face in it. And and that scared you a lot, too.
This whole sequence scared the shit out
It
of me.
really did. And this was kind of the section of the movie when I felt like this didn't let up. It was just
It
like
was
really-
relentless. Yeah.
like 15 minutes of
was
this like
pretty
real
freaked out in
tense.
this section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he turns around, he's gone to the closet and found some old-timey clothes. And then he turns around and he sees a little like hole in the wallpaper. And so he goes over to rip the nursery wallpaper off, and there's something written there, and it's in red. And we keep getting, as he's doing this, we're getting these doll reaction shots
Yeah.
too, and like the little wind-up monkey too. And so what's written on the wall is "You could have saved him," and I'm not sure if it's actually written in blood, but it's written
It
in
looks
red.
like it is.
It does, yeah.
And the lady's like, "Oh, we'll just wallpaper over this."
Yeah.
Yeah, with the same wallpaper. We've got some leftover wallpaper of that exact wallpaper in the
Exactly.
garage, so we'll just wallpaper
It's
over it.
lucky that we do.
Yeah.
But so what actually happens though is one of those wind-up toys goes off and scared the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
It was. And so now he goes into another terrifying room, and he's looking out the window and he's seeing the cross now, and it's raining and dark and nighttime.
Yeah, but he
and
doesn't
terrifying.
just see the cross.
No, he
He
doesn't.
sees the boy get up out of the marsh and start walking towards the house.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Then he's looking at the handprint on the window where the woman, I guess, had put her hand there.
And then he touched it. Don't
he
touch
touched it. And then right on the other side, there's a woman screaming right in his face.
Scariest moment of the film.
This got all of us.
It was super fucking terrifying.
It really was.
I hated it.
Yeah, man. And it's a cheap jump scare, but it was effective here.
This whole movie is a cheap jump scare.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like the story the jump scares are connected to more than I normally do with jump scare machines. But yeah, I mean, this is like...
I like the story, and I like the atmosphere. It's pretty creepy.
Right,
I
right.
mean, like, it
And
does
that's
a pretty good job with this movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's the Hammer vibe and the atmosphere,
Yeah,
you know?
it's the Hammer vibe.
Dun, 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 dun. Wait, that's New Kid on the Block. I'm sorry.
You guys don't know music.
Marky Mark is like killing it.
That's not Marky Mark.
Can't touch this.
Well, that's at least the
I got
rest.
it, man. Okay, now there's more terrifyingness because
Oh, we're
the
back.
dog is downstairs barking and that door handle is going crazy.
Like going crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And so he said, "Who's there?" And then it stops because they don't want to say it. And then it starts again.
I like when you narrate things.
And then he opens the door and he sees it's rainy nothingness.
Yeah, there's
So,
nothing
of course,
out there.
He goes outside
Yeah.
like a moron.
He's like, who was doing that, you know?
Yeah.
You guys knock on this door.
He literally walks out there like someone who's pissed someone knocked on their door and ran away.
Yeah, and wants to get wet because it's raining.
I don't know what is going on with this guy. Like
He's
I would
passively suicidal.
I would have
He's got
shit my pants.
BWE.
Yeah, big wizard energy.
Yeah.
Although it's actually big wang energy.
I would have been
Oh,
holding
not my
that
hair.
dog crying in a corner forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so-
Full stop. Yeah.
all right. So now he goes outside into the rain and he sees the three girls from the beginning and all of the ghost children. Yeah.
Yes.
Standing there
I mean,
staring.
and there's a shitload of them.
Yeah, there are. Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, a lot of the kids in this town have died.
And
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised that you're laughing at that.
There's more kid ghost actors than there are adults in this town.
Yeah.
There are.
Mhm.
100%.
it's like the town in
Yeah.
American
Werewolf in
Werewolf
Love.
if like there were 50,000 werewolves.
Yeah, I mean, there's legit 7 adult actors and 30 children's ghosts.
And they were all
Yeah.
in Harry Potter at some point.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
now they
gosh.
walk back in, and there are wet, muddy footprints walking up to the nursery.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it, I'll go.
He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll check out that.
I'm on the case.
Who wants me to go upstairs? You gonna dare me? I dare you. Okay, I'm going.
Actual dialogue from the movie, guys.
Yeah.
This inner monologue.
All right. So he goes up to the nursery and he sees that it's been destroyed. The monkey's winding up and the dolls are all super fucking creepy. And so he turns the doll off because how did it get turned on?
I'm
And-
guessing the woman in black.
Yeah, well, now he sees her and he sees her hang herself.
Yes.
And he drops the candle, doesn't burn the house down.
And also doesn't just leave and grab one of the other 1,000
I know.
candles.
Then he dives for the candle.
Yeah.
He does because he wants to see. Oh, it's giving me the creeps to think about it. Because he finally lights the candle with a match, and then she's gone. But guess who's right behind him? The muddy kid.
Ugh. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It was really scary. I was not expecting that. And then he sees her because he's trying to run away into the hallway, and he sees her, and she's kind of like orbing down the hall. And so he runs back into the room and
he
locks
closes
the door. Yeah.
This is my room now. I'm safe in here.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
she's like, no, I'm going
Nope.
to come up through the muddy bed.
Ooh, yeah, because like it's like a reverse Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
She wasn't
Speaking
coming up. The
of.
boy was coming up.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the
Well, that makes
boy-
more sense because it is mud he's coming out of.
Right.
Yeah.
He's mudding up from the bed.
But we never see him get fully realized because he bolts out of that room
Well, his
before he's out of
exactly.
it.
comes up.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's
yeah.
the smartest thing he does in the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because he only does stupid shit in the movie.
Yeah.
The only time he's
Yeah.
scared is this for some reason. I don't
Right.
understand.
Because he just doesn't like mud.
That's
got
what it
it.
is. He's a germaphobe. He's like, oh, a haunted house? That's easy. Ooh, mud? I'm out.
Who the hell put these bloody footprints on the door?
Yeah. But to overcome that fear, he decides to dive into a whole pool of it later. But so he's running down the stairs and it's terrifying. And he opens the door and surprise, it's Sam and everything's
Yep.
safe.
Is it morning?
Yeah, it is morning. Yeah.
Dawnish. Yeah. And so now they're driving back and he's saying that he saw her. And so when they get back to the village, there's a fire. And Mrs. Jerome is screaming, Lucy! And Harry knows that Lucy's down in the secret room.
Yeah,
the
in
secret
the
Lucy
panic room or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he runs down in there and he sees the girl who was yelling at him earlier.
Well, yeah, he
and-
breaks down her door.
Mhm.
And then, like, he's like, I'm going to come get you, stay where you are. And she's holding like a lantern, more or less, with like oil in the bottom and flame on top.
And we see the woman in black looking at her from the corner.
Yeah.
And then she lights herself on fire.
She throws the lantern on the ground and sets herself on fire. It's horrible.
It is. It's really sad.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
And so he walks back out and he's really upset.
What do you say to the parents at that point? Oh, hey, I was going to save your daughter and could have, but she just like
Burned
lit
out.
herself on fire.
Right.
So I'm going to go back to the haunted house. Bye.
Your daughter's hot, but too
Not
hot.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Harry Potter washing his face, and we see another flashback of his wife wearing a white veil. And we haven't been talking about this, but he's been seeing pictures of her. And it's kind of like a distinction between the woman in black because she's dressed almost exactly the same, except she has blonde hair and she's wearing all white. And so this is when he sees a flashback of her like walking through a graveyard. Actually, it's not a flashback. It's a vision or a hallucination.
Yeah, I think it's a vision.
Yeah. All right. So now Sam is taught, I think they're having their like recuperation brandy or something. And they're saying that the Jeromes lost their first child. And so when they had Lucy, they locked her downstairs in that room to protect her. And that's which is bullshit. And that's when, although I could understand if you're a grieving parent, but that's not the way to keep your kids safe because it didn't
Clearly,
work.
it didn't work. Yeah.
Right. But Harry's saying he saw the woman in the room with her. So he sees Mrs. Daly at the tomb for Nicholas.
The
Yeah.
little mausoleum.
Yeah. And we've seen a picture that she painted of them looking at the ocean. But so he walks out.
Which looks real bad as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's an amateur painting, we'll say. He's asking what happened, and she's saying he was playing at the beach and the tide must have caught him off guard. Mrs. Daly knows that Harry Potter has seen the woman in black, and she's saying he can't blame himself for not staying away. And this is when she says, whenever she's been spotted, there's always a child's death in a violent or dreadful circumstance.
Which I kind of wish they would have explained in the beginning of the film. I mean, this movie kind of lays it all out a little bit, but I was like, why is everybody hating on everybody about...
I mean, it all gets explained at some point. I don't really
It does.
care. I was
Yeah.
fine with it, but
Now we see that Nicholas died this way, and he was one of the children that got caught because she
Yes.
had just said the story was that the tide swept him away, but he died at the beach. And then she looks at him and starts speaking in voices, and it's like the voices of the children. And she's saying, she makes us. They took her boy away, and now she takes us. And now we start seeing the flashbacks of all the children dying with Nicholas,
well, yeah.
and she's on the beach.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you see the three girls from the beginning, and she's in the corner of the room. And,
And then we see the little girl who drank the lye,
Right.
and she's in the corner.
Yeah.
But she's saying she saw you, and now she's coming.
Yeah.
And then she starts carving on the tomb again because she likes to draw.
she likes to draw with things you're not supposed to draw with.
Exactly.
Like
But
a
probably-
big rock or a knife into a table. But yeah, she carves
Right.
a train and his son into a stone on the mausoleum.
Yeah. And it's a little train shadowing.
Yes.
Yeah. But so Sam comes out and helps her away.
Sorry, I've got to chloroform my wife again. Bye-bye.
He doesn't chloroform her this time.
No, he
front of him.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so now Harry Potter's got his genius plan that if they can reunite her with her child, she'll be at peace.
Like he said, his son's coming. He's desperate.
But they're like, well, why did nobody think of this before? And he said, because you have something they didn't have before, which turns out to be a car.
Yeah, a Rolls Royce. Yeah.
Right. And so now we see it's dark again, and Harry Potter just jumps into some really thick, gross mud right at the foot of the cross, and he like swims down into it. And I couldn't figure out exactly what he was trying to find first because I forgot that a car had gone in.
I thought they got
there.
the wagon out for some reason.
It wasn't a car, it was a wagon.
Wagon, you're right.
Yeah.
Or like a carriage
But
or
also,
something.
like, the tide was up yesterday at this time, but down at this time.
Yeah, the tide is not tied to anything other than the plot. But anyway,
Okay.
he keeps diving down and he finds the carriage or whatever. And then he ties the rope to the carriage. And then Sam Daly backs the Rolls Royce out and it pulls the carriage up just enough that he can see the boy. So he picks up the boy and then they start to lose traction with the carriage
She's
and it goes
giving
back
her all
in.
she's got.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It
it's
goes
not
like
Star Trek,
second
but
gear reverse, which is like a thing, I guess, on that car.
it was the
In old
early
times.
900s. Yeah, 1900s. So he grabs the boy and takes him out to the road. Then they let the carriage fall back in.
Right. And it's really gross. And
Yeah.
I don't like mud.
You know what's even more gross? He
Yeah.
goes back into the haunted house and bathes himself and the child.
Oh,
And he's like on
yeah.
a time crunch because his son's coming in by train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he runs into the house all muddy, and he's like, instead of doing this ghost like seance, I have her dead boy's body, whatever.
Right.
I want to chill out and take a warm, hot bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's relaxing. He's been through a lot.
He
And
also
this is-
bathes her kid.
Olden times. He's got to warm the water up and stuff.
Oh, it's so dumb.
You think they bathed together? That's why she was still pissed.
Gross. Now, I will say I didn't want to watch the rest of the movie with him all muddy.
Oh,
Or
Daniel Radcliffe
do
or the
I?
boy? Oh.
No, yeah, I'm glad he cleaned the mud off. But anyways, Sam is saying we should bury him, but Harry says they're lost and they need to find each other. So I just got to do this one thing real quick first, which is bait the ghost out.
And then Sam's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Let's just. How do you know
Right.
that is correct?"
Well, I mean, it's not. We'll get to it. So
Yeah.
he takes the body up into the nursery, lays it on the bed, puts all the birthday cards around it,
Right.
and then starts every musical toy there. And while that's happening, Sam Daly is in the bottom room, right off the foyer that he's been researching this whole thing in, and he sees his son Nicholas across the hallway and follows him into a room.
Yeah, but not so fast because it's not your sweet son back to life. It's your dead son with a terrible face. And then he sees the other dead children
Yeah.
outside the window.
And then the door closed. So now Sam Daly's locked in that room.
Can't help Harry Potter.
Right.
Yeah. So now, speaking of Harry Potter, we're back up in the nursery and the chair has started rocking. The toys have stopped. And he walks to the door and the nun totally ripped this off because as she's orbing down the hall, the lights are turning off and it's really effective.
It's very, very scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Because you never can see her clearly
Right.
at this point because it just keeps getting so dark while she's there. And so then finally all the lights go out and then she's there and she just scream orbs up on him and screams right in her
This
face.
part's super scary.
Yeah. It's the worst.
And then she goes and she picks up the boy and then it's like everything kind of evaporates.
Yeah, and then
it's-
the door downstairs unlocks for Sam Daly, and he's now able to get out. But
Yeah.
I don't think she takes the boy because then they
I don't
have to
think
go
so either.
bury him,
She
right?
does it. And it's unclear whether
She took the spirit of the boy.
It looked like she almost picked him up and then put him back down or
Right,
something.
it did, yeah. And I wonder if it's just like you said, she's just kind of picking him up in spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it doesn't matter because the pressure's off, everything's fine now. And the next thing you see is a tomb that's cracked open in the middle and they're pulling it apart.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to steal Dumbledore's wand. But what they've cracked open is just
Her tomb.
case.
Yeah, her tomb.
Yeah.
They cracked the case.
yeah, they have. Although they haven't.
And they open her casket up and they see her skeleton body and they put the body of the little boy inside it and close it. And then they're driving away.
And they're like, wrap it up, boys.
Right.
We solved it.
Ah, Ghostbusters.
it's still night. I mean, they were the first Ghostbusters.
right.
Yeah.
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 But so as they're driving away, we're led to believe that maybe not everything is right with the world because it's still night in the evil house and we're hearing whispers and we're seeing the scratched faces and we slowly start to hear that the whispers are saying never forgive,
Yeah,
never
never
forgive, never
forgive. Yeah.
forgive. Yeah. And so now he's at the train station and surprise, his son and the governess are there. So they have their little reuniting hug.
Yeah.
And they're talking to Sam and you're like, no, fuck this. We're not staying here. We're going straight back to London.
I did love that. DR's like, hey, governess, go buy his tickets. I'll explain, but we're getting the fuck out of this shitty ass town.
She's like,
Exactly.
$20, $20.
yeah, let's do this. I'll
Right.
bounce, whatever.
Yeah. So as he's saying goodbye and talking to Sam,
He's like, Sam, you're my best friend, but we have that weird thing where you're 20 years older, but we're still friends. But it's there's an age gap. But I mean, you're still
maybe
a
you're
really
the
good
father
buddy.
that died
All
15
right.
years ago.
All right. It's fine. But we also learned that trains run every 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
Because as he's talking to Sam,
He looks away.
and Harry Potter's son is now walking down the train track towards the train.
Yeah, and so Harry Potter looks over, and first he sees the woman in black on the other
Yeah.
side of the tracks, and then he sees that his son is walking towards the 30-second later train. And he jumps down and runs and tries to grab him, and he gets him. They just can't get out of the train track in time. But so we're watching Sam see this, and as he's watching, he sees the woman in black across the way and all of the kids.
And all the faces of the kids.
And I didn't notice if he saw his son with him.
I don't think
though.
he did.
I don't think he did either.
yeah.
And that would be a real dick move for the woman in black, too.
Yeah, she's sort of a bitch.
She is kind of a bitch, you know.
She's the worst.
Okay, you continue, and then I'm going to do my hot
Is
take.
this your hot take that the woman in black is actually the villain?
No,
Not a cool character.
And then it looks as if the governess and Sam are looking to see if Harry Potter and his son are still alive. And then it cuts to Harry Potter's eyes opening and he's still holding his son, but we realize he's been teleported to King's Cross Station.
Right. And there's a Harry Potter Instagram filter.
Yeah, it's the
now.
white haze of the Harry Potter King's Cross Station. Yeah.
Right. And it's the station to the afterlife.
Right.
And so the son is there and they're looking and the son's saying, "Who's that lady?
Who's that lady?
It's your mother."
Oh.
But it's not, and I mean, for a second, I think if you've never seen a movie before, you might think it's the woman in black, but it's not. It's the woman in white.
Right.
And it's the mother.
I
And
was
now-
I
white
called
light
it.
coming
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to the dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not. It's the mother, and now they're reunited together. And so they take each other's hand and they walk down the train track.
And the woman in black watches this.
Yeah, she does. The last thing we see is the woman in black, and then she looks at the camera. And it's not like a real big jump scare. I like that it just kind of
It's creepy,
redirects.
yeah.
It's creepy. And I
Yeah.
think they could have made it a real big stinger jump scare, but they didn't.
Right.
And that's the
And that's the
movie.
movie.
Oh, that's the move. Roll the credits or whatever.
Right.
All right. Hot take.
Uh-oh.
I think he did solve the curse,
Uh-huh.
and she killed them as like, I'm returning the favor for you.
Sure.
Like, this is my gift to you. Is
That you can be together.
that you guys can be together.
Like-
because she's taken the other ones, and she didn't take
well,
their
that's
kids.
true. Yeah.
And then she was like smiling as they were walking into the white light.
Well, and he reunited her with her son, so
Right.
now she's reuniting him.
So I think
with
he did
his.
cure it. It's just she's like a real shitty gift giver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the worst.
It's almost like she's the villain.
Yeah.
I mean, she was locked in an attic for a long time.
That's
Like,
true.
She probably didn't know social norms too well.
Yeah, everybody wants to be dead with their kid, right?
Well, she's like, oh, you
Yeah.
you reunited me with my loved one when you were in my creepy haunted house. You kept flashing. She probably saw the the flashes of.
She
his
gets
wife.
it.
Yeah,
she knows what's going on.
I don't know if that's what the movie intended,
Was
but
there
I think you're probably
because I think
right.
she was like, okay, reunite your family like you did me. Thanks guys. Have a
Well,
great trip.
Fun fact about that scene, the part in the station where they reunite with the mom was added in afterwards because they thought that it was just too much of a downer.
Yeah.
Okay,
for them
because
to
I
end that
think
way.
I saw like when I saw this movie, I don't remember the mom walking them into the white light. Was there like a cut of this movie that it didn't have?
I don't know about that. I do know that it was added in. So it could have been that test audiences thought it was too depressing.
I think when I saw it, it was like really depressing, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was not good and dark ending. But I kind
Yeah.
of like this version.
I mean, it's cheesy, but I mean, I like it. It's kind of a cheesy movie.
It's
Yeah,
super
it fits
cheesy,
in with
yeah.
that. I'm like, all right.
Right. I think I would have liked it either way. But yeah, it is way more of a downer if they just die.
Yeah.
Because that's when I think that would have made you really think a lot more about how many children die in this movie. You know, if it had ended on a negative note, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Now that we've talked about the movie and we've watched the movie, give me some final thoughts. What do you guys think?
I like it
Oh,
Uh-huh.
wow.
because
Okay.
it's kind of like Haunted Mansion the Ride. It's like fun if you like scary movies, but
If
and
you
not
like scary
super
movies,
serious,
sure,
and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
not dark, and you don't want to think about it. I mean, it's kind of like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. I am aware that I don't think it's great,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
not
think it
great.
is very jump scary, and there are problems I have with the story. But I mean, it's spooky, and I like the look and
Yeah,
the feel of
it
it. It's
does it
like that
right.
gothic
It's got
horror.
good
yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah, but I mean, I had forgotten this movie existed for 10 years.
It's not like
so-
Haunted Mansion. It's like if Haunted Mansion was at Six Flags.
It's like the Universal version of Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
I hated this movie. I thought it was horrible, but mainly because it's all jump scares, and that's what I hate the most.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I hope to never see a movie even remotely like this again.
Well, I mean, we don't have any coming up that are like
Yeah,
this,
we'll
I don't
see.
think. I guess it'll depend on what Mikey chooses, though.
All right, well, let's talk box office.
All right.
So, what do you guys think the budget for this movie was?
I'm gonna say 12 million.
I'm gonna go 6.
All right. So, it was $15 million.
Damn it.
The budget for this movie was. What do you guys think it made in box office? Let's do just worldwide.
25.
26.
Oh God! So I'll just do domestic then.
Okay.
So domestic, it made $54 million.
Oh, nice.
In its opening weekend, it made almost $21 million. Total for its worldwide run, it made 128, almost $129 million. So it did real well, which makes me
Nice.
real mad. And then it did almost another $12 million in its domestic DVD and Blu-ray sales.
Nice.
So it made a lot of money.
I mean, I think it's like a mass market horror film. Like, you
well,
know,
and it's kind of a throwback too to
Yeah.
like the older kind of gothic style too, which I really enjoyed. And there were a lot of people that liked The Nun, even though they could recognize that it was kind of dumb. But it's fun horror,
and it's
you
pretty
know?
safe. That's weird saying it about a movie that where like a lot of kids get murdered, but like,
Yeah.
like, it's a pretty safe film. It doesn't take a lot of risks.
Right. Yeah. It's just all about the atmosphere and the jump
Yeah.
scares. Yeah.
Roller coaster.
Well, interesting.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad we
yeah.
agreed, Jen. That it's like kind of dumb but like fun.
Yeah, and I love Daniel Radcliffe. Honestly, if with another actor that I didn't like so much, I probably would have disliked it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I just really like him, and I think he's really good in it.
Really love haunted house films. I wish there was more.
Yeah, I wish there was more good ones.
The week this came out, it was beat by Chronicle.
Ooh, Chronicle
was really
is good.
Right, and then it was the second one. It was The Woman in Black was number 2, and then The Gray, and then Big Miracle, and then Underworld Awakening were the top 5 movies that opening weekend, which was February 3rd, 2012.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's box office. Jen, you got some fun facts for us?
I do have some fun facts.
Nice, hit us with your fun facts.
All right, so this was, we already talked about the Hammer Film Studio.
Right.
So this was adapted from a novel by Susan Hill, which was written in 1983. And she was inspired to write it by a seaside vacation house that she rented once.
Was it haunted as fuck?
I don't know if it was haunted, but she said it was real creepy.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like not like the Hawaii beach houses we might picture, but like the English beach houses that are a little creepy and haunted. And
enough.
she also said she ran into someone who was who had been divorced recently and was very angry about it and had a lot of revenge. And so that's kind of the vibe that she took with the woman. Like, it's never enough. You can never satisfy that need for revenge and how toxic it is.
Right.
So those were her big inspirations. I'm going to link an article that I found that's an interview with her and the woman who adapted it, because it's really interesting to hear her talking about the atmosphere and the way she tried to create it. So the book apparently is pretty different from the movie. Like, in the book, he's not a widower. The wife is still alive and they're happily married.
Huh.
So it makes me want to read the book, because
Like, why the hell would he do anything if the wife wasn't dead?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
What's his motivation?
But I feel like it's pretty different, but apparently the feel is still the same, like the creepy atmosphere. The woman who adapted it, her name is Jane Goldman, and she also wrote X-Men First Class and a couple of other things, but that's the one that I remember, and I like that movie.
Yeah, sure.
I think Days of Future Past is better, but I like First Class.
Yeah.
And so there was an earlier version of this movie filmed in 1989, so this is technically a remake, but it was starring the person who played Arthur was
Who is Daniel Radcliffe in this movie?
Yes, Daniel Radcliffe is Arthur. We called him Harry Potter the entire time. But the person who played him in the original movie is named Adrian Rollins, and he played James Potter, which
No
is Harry
shit.
Potter's dad. Yeah.
Oh my
Isn't that a
God.
crazy coincidence?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
They must only have like 20 actors in the UK. And they're all amazing, but
I
they put them in
know.
everything.
Mm-hmm. So this was his first film after Harry Potter. So I think he may have been trying to kind of change it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to do, like, he had just come out of the best movies that were made in that decade. So he wanted to try and find someone that was just horrible.
Well, and that's one thing I really admire about Daniel Radcliffe is that I think he likes horror because he does a lot of more genre, like silly stuff. Like, he did the one with the farting corpse movie, which I can't remember what that's called.
Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting film.
I heard it was better than you would think it would be.
It's good. It's good. It's just really interesting.
But I love, like, he and Elijah Wood made all this money off of these franchises, and then they just went off and they're just doing whatever they want. They're doing all these real creative, interesting movies, and I love it, and it makes me really like him.
I actually read an article by Daniel Radcliffe that he said almost exactly that. He was like,
Really?
I have more money now than I'm ever going to spend. So I'm just going to have a career that I enjoy and that I hope my fans will follow and enjoy.
Robert Pattinson is starting to do that too, and I'm down for it.
Well, he's actually Batman.
Well, I know, but he's done a bunch of bonker shit. So this was originally going to be in 3D, but
Really?
they
Oh.
scrapped that.
thank
Oh, yeah,
God.
because this was coming out right during that time.
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad they did, because that would have just really made it way extra cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
His son in the movie is played by Misha Handley, and that is his real life godson.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a little bit of nepotism, but also like I feel like they have a good bond in the
Yeah,
movie,
sure.
even though they're not in many scenes together.
Yeah.
But all of the toys are real antiques
Oh, my God.
from that time period, and they got
Are they really?
And they're
are.
really haunted.
They are really haunted.
Oh my
yeah.
God, I don't think anybody would really want that much realistic teeth on toys.
Ugh.
I mean, I would burn all those toys immediately.
Yes.
We should not have let those escape that decade.
I would burn down these sets.
There's just nothing good's happened in that haunted house. All right, so there was a sequel.
Okay.
It did not do very well.
Daniel Radcliffe was not in it.
He was not. Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe was not. The director was not involved, and the writer was
so it
not
was a
involved.
cash
it was
grab.
Well,
it was
yeah.
called The Women's $sign in Black.
It was actually called The Woman in Black, the Angel of Death. And it was
That sounds so terrible.
Yeah.
oh
does.
yeah, it was set during World War II, and the bombings in London forced teachers to evacuate with their students
Oh, that's
to
true.
this house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that part's true, but yeah, so they're staying in this terrible cobwebby house, and mischief and shenanigans, haunting style ensue.
Well, that sounds
So,
horrible.
yeah, well, it did not do very well.
Yeah.
Yep, and those are my fun facts.
Well, thank you for your fun facts, Jen.
Well, you're very
Those were really
welcome.
fun, actually.
Well, thanks.
Let's do that scary scale.
Hey, listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Our scary scale is a scale we use to rank how scared we were when we watched the movie tonight. It's not a ranking of the quality of the film. It's how scared we were when we watched it today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember, this is not a ranking of the quality of the movie.
No,
I
it is
want
not.
to reiterate that. All right, Todd, what you got?
7.
7.
This movie scared the shit out of me, and I hated it.
That's the highest you've given
Wow.
anything in
Yeah,
a while.
I hated this movie. I think it also helped that we watched it at night.
Yeah. Well, I think this is kind of like your kryptonite
It
movie
is.
too. You
It
know?
absolutely is, because I hate jump scares, and that's
Right.
the only thing happening in this movie for 90 minutes. Mikey, what about you?
You know what? I jumped a couple of times.
You did.
So, 4?
Was that a guess?
What?
Yeah. I mean, I think the atmosphere is oppressive.
Yes, it is.
And the jump scares are relentless.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. They are. Yeah.
Agreed.
I think I'm going to give it a 5.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It is very creepy imagery. There's not so much there. It is for a movie with as much child death in it. You would think that it would get me more, but it's just so kind of bubblegummy, in
Yeah.
that way.
No, I think we've talked.
Yeah,
But it makes
it's
sense.
super creepy imagery.
Yeah.
All right, and that's our scary scale.
All right, so this week you guys made me watch The Woman in Black. What are you
Yep.
guys making me watch next week?
So, guys, before we tell you what our next movie is, we want you to look at your calendar.
Pay close attention to that calendar.
Yeah, winky blinky. There might be a date on maybe a Friday that something special may be dropping in your feed.
Right.
The 4th version of something. And I can't give you any more hints. But what's next officially, we are so excited, guys.
Yep.
It is our 100th episode. I can't believe we made it past 5, actually.
Me
But
either.
We are at our 100th episode, and I have been from the beginning wanting to do this movie for our 100th. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I think Todd actually is ready for it now.
Yeah.
We are going to watch Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
And I'm so excited.
So yeah, make
Yeah.
sure you guys watch Cabin in the Woods for next week.
Yeah. But look at your calendars,
Right,
too. Because you may
because-
get a little extra virgin in
Yeah.
your Friday.
Ooh,
Ooh.
how you doing? It has come time now for us to read a 5-star review. So
Yeah.
Mike is going to go through and look for one of the most recent 5-star reviews and read it. But if you want us to read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
And then we will read it. Leave a accent or really anything that Mikey can have fun with, and we'll laugh as we read your 5-star review.
And if you don't listen on Apple iTunes and you leave a review somewhere else, screenshot it and email it to us.
Yeah, at info@horrorvirgin.com.
Yeah.
Mikey, you got a review?
Yes.
Okay.
This one is from Tyler Boo.
Okay.
It's titled Best Horror Podcast
Ooh,
why, thank you, Tyler Boo.
Thank you.
in a Fargo accent.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Can you do a
I
Fargo
don't
accent?
think so. Okay, let me try.
Get in the character.
Okay.
Fargo.
I don't think that that's
That's
the Fargo accent.
Mississippi.
Fargo. No, that's no.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. I've been watching the Horror Virgin, yeah, for a while now.
We apologize to the city of Fargo.
Oh my god!
And I could definitely say it is the best horror podcast out there. Oh, Jen, Mikey, and the horror version, Todd. They're great
Oh my god!
horror movies.
What is happening?
And add great commentary to them.
I want to apologize to the Coen brothers as well, just
Yeah.
on the record.
I
And
don't have.
just everyone.
Yeah.
I don't.
Apologies all around.
I don't have too many people to talk to
Now we're in Italy.
the horror films about. So every week, it feels like I'm sitting down with some good friends.
What?
Wow.
I mean, okay. I remember we were reading as dinosaurs, so.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting down with some good friends, eh? And I'm talking about the thing I love most, horror films.
Oh, Mikey.
don't
A
know.
for effort.
I'm sorry, everyone.
I love it.
Thank you for all the laughs and great content.
Well, thank you for that.
5 stars.
Yeah, thank you so much for that 5-star review. We apologize for whatever that was, but thank you so much.
Yes, a valiant effort, though, Mikey.
Yeah, you nailed it. I'm 100% sure that's what it sounds like.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
No way to find out.
Yeah, I mean, thank God.
The internet does not exist.
Anymore.
Yes. Some people would research their segments.
We are a member of the Consequence of Sound podcast network.
Yes, we are.
So if you would do us a favor, check out their shows like Kyle Meredith with This Must Be the Gig, The Assembly.
The Fifth Dimension.
Yeah.
The Opus.
Yeah.
Halloweenies and the Losers Club.
Yeah, so check out the Halloweenies and the Losers Club. And in fact, the Halloweenies start back on the same day. You might get a special drop in your feed.
Yes.
Oingy blingy. So
check
check
it
back
out.
on that.
Oh, and also make sure to check out the Consequence of Sound website because there's lots of articles that run all day long about pop culture,
Like
music,
Jen's getting
movies.
published all up in that bitch.
Yeah, she is.
Because she's talented.
And if you guys want to follow our shit, we are at Horror Virgin on socials. Mikey is at mrandolph24. Jen is at Jenn with 2
Oh my
N's for
gosh.
Ratu. I am at Todd J. Awesome. You can see our website at horrorvirgin.com, and you can see the rest of Jen's blog there and links to the merch store, a lot of great stuff. And if you want to help financially support the show, please do it. We have a lot of great perks, a lot of great levels. We got bonus episodes every month. We got a lot of great video content, so check it out. And if you can't help financially support the show, please just join the awesome Facebook group that we have. It's super supportive. It's daily free content. It literally is the best thing going on Facebook right now, so get involved in that.
And we're probably going to have a video of how terrified Todd was
probably.
dropping in that Facebook group. It actually might already be out.
It probably has dropped already, yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for us.
Yeah.
We have lost our minds.
I feel like I'm hitting my stride.
Oh, geez. This is what happens when we record at night. We all lose our fucking minds.
It's Monday.
So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited. One more reminder to look at your calendars, winky blinky. And that's going to be it for us, everybody. I'm Jenn.
And I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd.
Have a fantastic week.
Bye!
Yawn nerds.
Wow.
Yeah. For the 13th nerds.
Woo! He said the name of the episode. That's going to be a bonus thing.
Consequence Podcast Network. Cast 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 Network.